corners of New Zealand, Australia and Asia, radically making magic on the paddock round the fire. Bonzaar, Bonzaar Podcast.
Alright, Bonzaar, welcome to all. In this episode, we'll venture to the east coast of Australia and visit Sunburnt Arts and the folks that have volunteered to keep the magic alive. We will discuss some of the topical community concerns raised at the SBA Townhall, chat about the Burning Seed debrief and critical issues, and go through some of the milestones and take a look at the future plans for Sunburnt Arts. With me, I am joined by TJ, Tereasa, Marcelo from Sunburnt Arts. How you guys going?
Really good, thanks.
Been better.
You're on your life preserver there.
Yeah, it's a metaphor for because we're keeping this thing afloat.
Beautiful, I love it. Let's get some.
You didn't ask about my shades though.
Because of the sun?
That's because our future is so bright.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
I've been practicing that all day. And also, my new name is King Dingaling, please. I would prefer that. That's how you don't misgender me.
All right, King Dingaling. Now, let's start with my favourite part of the segment is getting people's background journeys into the culture, into the burning community. So we haven't heard from you, Tereasa, as well as Marcelo. Would you guys like to say hello to the community and just give us a brief background?
Sure, totally. Well, I guess, I'm talking, so I'll go first. I went to my first Burning Seed and was completely blown away. I came away so inspired. I didn't stop drawing for 2 weeks and thought about so many things that I wanted to make and do. And it absolutely buoyed me in a way that, I hadn't been motivated like that since the raves of the 90s, and it just... it was so exciting. And then, I had an idea to make the mystical music box, and I put it out there to the community, and I barely knew anybody, and it was like an idea on the back of a, scrappy piece of paper, and it was completely and utterly supported. And I really realized that you can only dream as big as the community that will support you. And from there, I really felt incredibly passionate about what the community could do and what it felt like to have that level of support, and how important it was for me, a solo mom, creative, performance artist, DJ, maker of things, to have a space where I could just unmask and be totally myself, non-censored. So I relish that and want to do everything I can to make that possible for others to also join it.
Your art piece, the
Mystical Music Box, yeah. The
Mystical Music Box. That was featured in a 2019 Burning Seed?
Yeah,
is that right?
I think so. I get the years mixed up. I know what's happening on a day-to-day basis, but, history. I've only got so much RAM.
Yeah, that was a beautiful art piece. We've got some pictures of that. It's a magnificent piece.
Cute. It was
Insert
all about
pictures of art piece right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, it was a place for connecting people. I really loved the idea of having a really warm, inviting, sensual space where people would come and feel that the jewels were instead of it is based on a music box, which is often has jewelry in it, but the jewels were people, and that the treasure is friendship. And I really think that I managed to do that. But, only reason that I managed to do it is because I had an audacious dream, and a whole group of people that I barely knew got excited about my thought and then came together and helped me do that. And there are so few spaces as an artist where you get the chance to make risky decisions, try new things, do something out of the ordinary, and on top of that, fully be yourself. To say that you don't know what you're doing, but you're really excited and you've got a really strong idea. And that is something that I absolutely treasure.
And welcome, Marcelo. Would you like to share with us your story, your background?
My story, a bit of magic. Decided to go to Burning Man in 2017. And then somebody in my party showed up. Oh, I'm going to Burning Man as well, and I'm part of the Amazon camp. Do you want to join? I'm like, yeah, it sounds good. So managed to do the Brazilian burners actually. And yeah, I didn't know much about the burning community, and I got there in a parachute pretty much. And first day we went up, we had this art called the Altar of Intentions, and we went to the playa, and somebody gave me a drop of something, I don't know what. And I started discovering the playa and seeing that everyone's working, everyone's doing something, and it's like, wow, that's how it works. Everyone's just together making this happen. And yeah, I was blown away. So I moved to Australia and straight away joined the Burning Seed, but it was in 2020 when after 2019, and there was a lot of drama happening. But anyway, for some reason there was a flame rekindled that wanted to happen, and it did happen. But it was very tough. There was, as everyone that's been before this knows, it had its challenges, but it did happen. And after that, this restructuring managed to happen, and I was a bit of part of that with some events. And after that, there was a metamorphosis that didn't happen, but the flame kept alive, and some left, and the new structure now happened with the Sunburnt Arts without Sunburnt events. And since 2020, I just kind of believe in the community here and Burning Seed, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, cool. And how did you guys get involved? TJ, how did you get involved with the Sunburnt Arts?
King Dingaling will be fine, or Your Majesty, etc. How did I get involved? Well, it was kind of weird. It was the same as tripping Jaguar. Basically, I was passed out on Chapel Street on the gutter. I had half a kebab in my hand, and someone poured something into my mouth. I think it was heroin. It was the 90s. I think that was all the rage at the time. Anyway, I'd heard this story about this thing in the desert called Burning Man, and I was like, wow, that sounds interesting. And then when I got there, they didn't actually burn any man. They built like this wooden effigy and burnt that. I was really disappointed, so obviously I put in my expense reports and got fully reimbursed, came back, wrote a 15,000-word blog post, which had some pretty good traction for a couple of weeks, and then obviously just got lost in the ether. That's kind of my origin story, which I think is, it's a journey. There's lots of twists and turns, ups and downs, and I think we're all richer for the experience. So you're welcome.
And how did you find the Burning Seed community? You've been to a few yourself.
Yeah, no, in all seriousness, it's the same. You've heard my origin story so many times. Same as everybody. Saw Burning Man online. I think it was like 2012. Thought, screw it. So I went in the lottery because I had the ticket lottery. Got tickets. Went, oh shit, okay, now I need to actually go. And rented a van and bought a tent from Walmart or whatever the fuck it is. Excuse my French. But it was a kid's tent for just like camping inside the house. It was a Buzz Lightyear tent, and it was way too small and like not appropriate. So my feet were hanging out the whole time. Went there and went, oh, okay, I get it. This is what it's all about. Like the art, the craziness, it's like a side quest. Burning Man is just like a constant side quest mission. And I went, you know what? I can do anything I put my mind to. I was going through this real transitional period at the time, messy divorce, all that kind of jazz, which is also in my blog post, which I'll link to you guys in the description. And then came back to Australia, and, we had the internet. It was all pretty raw and new. So we're like, I found this Burning Man community, Burning Seed, and went. I think my first year was 2013, and did the usual thing, started a sound camp with techno and deep house and all that kind of stuff, and had lots of beautiful people around dancing, mostly naked, and there's lots of like tranquilizers for animals, etc. And we really contributed. I think we really brought a massive crowd. I think the success was largely based on the crowd that we brought, because we're so important, and our music is so groundbreaking, being 4 to the floor deep house, which you can find literally everywhere.
So for the listeners out there that are not familiar with Burning Seed, now this is it was Australia's largest burn. It is the East Coast's largest burn. It's got a long and rich history as well. But what we're here to talk about is Sunburnt Arts. That's the new entity that has been transitioned from Burning Seed. Let's get into why did you guys join the board of Sunburnt Arts and keeping this flame alive?
Okay, I'll go first. Actually, it's said that Burning Seed is the first burn in Australia. That's what we keep saying, but yeah. I mean, I said a little bit that since 2020, I'm kind of helping, and it just felt like, yeah, I've been doing it. Okay, I'll keep doing it. And kind of didn't do it after the restructure, but because of metamorphosis, it was a bit of rushed and had some issues, and some people left, and then there was a chance to do it again with the voting, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'll give it another go, and yeah, managed to get back on the wagon, and it's a good group now, and it just feels like the energy in the community is there, so we just need the infrastructure to make it happen again.
Yeah, I joined because I'm really passionate about resilient communities and the impact that that can make for people's lives. So, I talked to you just a minute ago about what it means to me personally, but I think very much, being part of the IBAG survey and then understanding the level of, potential for neurodivergence within our community and diversity, within our population, which just seems completely evident everywhere I look. And then thinking about that on the bigger scale of what's happening in our global community and how important it is for us to have the power of real friendship that feels tested. And there's nothing better, as we know, than taking your friend out to go camping to test out a friendship. So we really have great tested friendships, but not just that. It's like striving together. It's about iterating. It's about generating really fantastic ideas, and for me as a person in a position where I get a chance to think about these sort of matters from strong community perspective. I'm a psychotherapist and sexologist, and long-term kinkster, and been part of all of these different worlds, and to bring all of that together, it feels like really satisfying soul work to me. It's really purposeful.
Yeah, same. Like, basically, I echo my two compadres' sentiments. I've been involved with Burning Seed for quite a while back in the day, but then left for, I wouldn't say ethical reasons. I didn't want to be a part of Red Earth City Proprietary Limited, so I left. And once that was all over and done, I came back and super excited to get into it. Obviously, we've got a lot of challenges now, but I think that's part of it for me is I really like those challenges. And as Tripping Jaguar and TT here say, there's a wonderful community there where, like, what you see on the surface and what you present, that's it. If we stay off the internet, you don't really know too much about these people. So you've got this opportunity to stay in character, to test out things, ways, that you deal with struggles or interpersonal relationships, etc. And it's a wonderful blank canvas for you to test these things and expand and grow as a human. And then also just do rad shit with a significant element of danger. And then, of course, there's obviously the tax benefits of, being a board member on a charity. The biscuits, when we have our morning teas, the biscuits, the quality's gone down. Look, we haven't got much money at the moment. So I just want everyone to know out there that the biscuits, we're not, exploding on Tim Tams or fucking Ice Vovos anymore. It's all just seriously, dry ginger biscuits, Scotch finger biscuits, basically all the finger biscuit styles. Very dry, not very tasty.
All the fresh stuff, right? Not expired.
Well, yeah. See, if you put a piece of orange peel inside the packet and leave it overnight, the next day it's really quite moist and refreshing. So yeah, that's why I joined. The tax benefits.
Was it also encouraging to see the new entity becoming its own kind of
beast animal?
Yeah, it's its own. I mean, it's back to community, right? The whole structure. So it's encouraging to see everyone else coming on board and actually wanting to help, rather than previously people didn't want to do anything with it, or they wanted to form their own actual entity away from it. So now it's become more community focused.
100%. I want to say back to the community. It's the first time to the community, because before it was owned by Red Earth City, and yes, and they had, now we have votes, and we have the Townhall, like you were there and you saw it happening, and the votes for the board, which is going to keep happening. So yeah, definitely a new aspect.
Yeah, that's right. And I was absolutely flabbergasted, to be honest, to discover that Burning Seed was owned by 3 dudes. And honestly, when I discovered that, I quit, basically. No, I'm not doing that level of epic effort. Months of toil without that coming back to a whole community. And so, but then I was studying and I couldn't get involved after, that first period of time, like when they were trying to, the failed event. I just tried to get involved where I could. And so the minute that it became apparent that I could get involved, then I did. And it's been already really exciting to be able to give as much voice and capacity to the community. So it's really important for me to, at all times, like if we're making anything of a major decision, that it's not us top down thinking, oh yeah, we think this is a good idea, but rather doing it in a very collaborative way, research based, trying to find out from as many broad voices as possible what the consensus is, so that it's bottom up, something that is going to represent the voice of our membership base. Join up, by the way, so that we can hear you. So it not only change of leadership, but I am hoping that it really represents that vital element of it being a membership organization.
The analogy we talked about earlier, Captain Dingaling, was you guys are like the union reps of the community. You guys are representing us. So it's great to see that this is heading to a different direction, and it's not retreading the same old issues or the same old kind of nostalgic things that we loved before. So that's why I was so keen to talk to you guys, and thanks for coming on. So let's talk about that, TJ, Captain Dingaling.
Captain, it's King, but that's a great question, Steve. Thanks for asking. It is fascinating. Like TT was saying, an entity like this is a community entity, and, enormous amounts of funds and people's time, energy, effort, love, sweat, tears, cheers, etc. But we don't think as a community that it should be that pyramidal structure with, the people on the top. Like you are right, we are those union reps, and seeing how this team is organised, the surveys, the voting, and the comms plans, etc., has just been so refreshing and awesome, because we know these systems work, and if we all get behind them, there's 50 different ways to skin a cat. We just got to pick one and go for it. And luckily, we have these people who are so experienced and professional at it. It's really, really simple, and the results are quite clear. So it's very simple and easy for us to make those decisions. And yes, we are a board, we are elected, so there are some decisions that we have to obviously have some veto on, as far as like fiscal responsibility or meeting, government regulations, etc. But, the bribes have been working so far. They're a little expensive, but inflation being what it is, we think we've built some good relationships there. But just getting more onto that, like it is a membership-based thing. So all you snapperheads online who are like getting on Facebook and talking a big game, let's see your membership. Get on there, sign up, become a member. That's where we want you. That's where your voice counts. It doesn't count in the filth of MySpace.
Show us your membership.
Show us your membership cards, all financial.
I want to see your members.
So who else is on the current board of Sunburnt Arts?
Some random people that we found. They're basically a diversity hire. I think we've got some, so tech wizard, just, unimportant people. Look, what's important is us here who have turned up, who are just facing the coals, front facing, forward moving.
We have Gabe, Doof Daddy. We have Liana Pugliese or Moma. We have Nathan, Nugby, and we have Bjorn. And
that's a very strong 7 board member, and you guys are all experienced, which it's good for the community to to have you guys on board.
7's a good number too, because if you have a hung vote, so like 3 people voting, then that extra person can get those votes over the line. It's a very wonderful system. And it also allows us to really build, power dynamics and like teams, where we set up forts in our lounge rooms and yell at the other people on the other side of our barriers.
Is Burning Siege still a Burning Man regional?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
No, it was the last event, and it's going to be in the next event. Yeah.
Yes, great.
Yeah, now we have the board, so we're looking for the team leads and QICs and for our May camp out. So yeah, just check our Facebook or Sunburnt Arts website and just get amongst it, because we're gonna be there in May, seeing the site for the first time and visiting and getting acquaintance.
Should we talk about that?
Yeah, this is all exciting.
No,
Let's talk
no,
about
we shouldn't talk about that, actually. Delete that. Cut that.
Cut that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
this is
the Yep. We can talk
We
about
said enough. If you,
next year. We can talk about next year.
yeah, which is going to be the event. Now it's just a working bee style.
Yeah, so we'll mention all those later on. Because what I want to get to is, I thought was the pivotal moment in Burning Seed was the town hall meeting on Sunday, the 27th of July in 2025. That meeting was attended by at least 30 people, probably 50 people, some more online people as well, and people coming from different regions, different localities, from Canberra, from all over Sydney surrounds. So, and there was a few good discussion points raised as well. So let's talk about more about that after the break. Take a quick break, and we'll be right back to talk about more about those.
Yes, and welcome back to the Bonzaar podcast. Bonzaar stands for Burners of New Zealand and Asian Regions. And it's a project, podcast, initiative.
Yes.
Yes. Let's get right into the Burning Seed SBA Town Hall that we all met together on Sunday, the 27th of July, 2025. As I said, it was a seminal moment for
Wow,
our
it seems
community.
so long ago.
Yeah, but a lot has happened. So let's get into some of the topics discussed at that. So some of the core issues and the critical timelines. First of all, the structural governance failure between SBA and SBE. Some of the unclear communications collaborations. That was some of the things that was highlighted. So one of the problems, I guess, that C didn't go ahead in 2025 was because of this core issue there, and the choices between event dates as well. Yeah.
Yeah, looking
What
at
have you guys learned?
Oh, so much. And, I was definitely trying to support people in leadership at that time, which is how I kind of realized, that's what happens on the board here. And I was just not able to do more than I could at that time. But basically recognizing that, one, the structure of SBA and SBE needed to be in place because of the amount of assets that we had at that period. It spread out our risk. It meant that the event's risk didn't impact the core business of Sunburnt Arts. It made sense. Where we are today, it's not that same story of as King Dingaling said, like we're not rolling in ice vovo. It's terrible hard biscuits and dry mouths, but that's okay. We know how to make things get good, and we learned that because we figured out that when you make a decision that is really good sitting in the seat of a leadership position, but it's not necessarily one that was highly collaborative, then that decision may not be something that represents everyone's opinions. And I think that we saw that there was not as much support for that midwinter event as what the teams would have liked, and the ticket sales just weren't there. That's people voted with their lack of purchasing. And look, things could have changed. I'm sure when you talk to people who were there, things could have changed with enough time, and enough support, and enough marketing, and all that stuff. But that time ran out, and we've been able to learn from that and change some of the things that weren't working. And we can go back to that structure when we are rolling in the chocolate Tim Tams, double dip with some hot caramel.
Yeah, 100%. If I can jump on that as well, Tereasa nailed it perfectly. The structure that we had with Retta City and then the town council, Burning Seed, the event, that was obviously, as T said, to separate the two entities. And, we're up to like 3,500, 4,000, 4,500, 5,000 people events. So we had humongous teams. It was a massive machine, and it worked for that. That separation was really good. Now, as Steve was saying, the landscape has changed so much, and the core sort of interest or effort or input is significantly less. So merging those two boards was a wonderful idea. Initially, I was a little bit sort of, how's it going? But then what I saw jumping in the last year or so, was that the disconnect between Sunburnt Arts and Sunburnt Events, that maybe the communication wasn't so good there. There wasn't that formal structure or whatever. I wasn't there, but reading the Afterburns reports and stuff, it just seemed to be a common theme. It was like nobody knew who was in charge. It was difficult for decisions to be made. A lot of people were spread too thin, doing too many things, burnt out, etc. So that's been like one of my core sort of, I don't know if it's the word vision or whatever, but core things is to really get that structure back. I've had some pushback. Some people have said, "Oh, you guys have got a control problem. You're too controlling." And I was like, no. We have a structure problem. Like, if you don't have a clear structure with this business, which it is a business or a charity or whatever, then that delivering on those things, those core things that we need to do, your infrastructure, your planning, etc., your DAs, you're never going to achieve those goals. So having that core structure, understanding who's in charge of what your deadlines are, what your limitations are, and more importantly, who you can reach out to if you're struggling. I noticed that was a big one as well. Like, it's really concerning when you hear like, oh, nobody knows who's in charge. So that also tells me that like nobody knows who to go to for help when there's critical decisions to be made. So it's what's happening now. I think is just really wonderful. I'm super proud to be part of it. It's not without its challenges. It's quite difficult, but yeah, I think we're on track, and that's why I'm wearing the sunnies. Because the future is so bright.
Thanks, Hotwire. What I think for Metamorphosis, there was a bit rushed, and yes, the SPE, SPA talking to themselves kind of didn't work out, and the ticket sales they came too late, and there was a 4-6 week period to sell X, and there was a lot of people that wanted to buy, but they just didn't buy on time, and then there was a money issue, and yeah, it was very unfortunate to not go ahead, and yeah.
Yeah, at the debrief, I loved how you guys were very honest, reflective, and also critical in terms of how things went about, so we can learn and move forward rather than just going around in circles and blaming each other and not taking accountability and not learning. But so you talked about the ticketing. The main issues or root cause there was overestimation as well as underestimation, because we're all doing this in real time, learning it, going on along as well. So there's no sort of manuals or anything that we can pitch from.
There actually is. There's a Google Drive full of manuals.
But in terms of the economy, in terms of the market, in terms of the landscape of the burns, in terms of how people are spending, different groups. So this is all changing, and times are changing too. The world is changing, right? So I love how you guys are really honest about that and pointing out all these things. So one of the things I looked at was voluntary trauma, the collective fatigue and exhaustion. And from that is like the workload miscalculations. So this is the overestimation, underestimation, undefined roles, decision making, all those little bits. It's not just one thing or one person or this or that. Yeah, it's really fascinating. So I want to understand all these contributing factors, the misalignment, stuff like that. So yeah, what are your thoughts, and
I have
what
thoughts.
Can we learn from other burns?
Okay, I'll start. And look, I'm just going to be really honest. I'm sorry if I come across cunty or bullyish, but here's a prime example. The organisation had 150 email accounts, right? Each at let's say $6 a piece. 150 email accounts for that organisation. That's like, honestly, I'm not a super organisational person in my day-to-day work, but we can all agree that 150 is just incredible for, potentially a 700-person event, because that's how many tickets we sold. So trying to clean that up, that's obviously a massive thing. Get that org structure back in place. I understand that, and I've been talking to some people from back in the day in Burning Seed, and they really found the board and the town council to be really like staunch, cliquey, standovery, gang-like mafiosos. And I didn't really feel that way because I was sort of involved. But I could understand how people would see that from the outside, especially those who really wanted to be a part of it. But what they did, which I thought was wonderful, was this mentoring program. So if you want to be the lead for it, no problem. You stick to the hip of the current lead for a year, then they stick to your hip for a year, and then off you go. And I found that to be really responsible and really awesome. Obviously, someone who wants to be in and take charge and do things, that might not be so wonderful. But yeah, so there's one example that I can think of. Getting that org structure back so that it's very clear. Like, it's not, what we're doing is not difficult. We've all, according to everybody, we've all been doing this for a long time. We're all experienced burners. We understand we need DAs. We understand we need local stakeholder relationships. We understand we need clear budgets. We understand the sequence of events as far as build, the gig, the pack down, the leave no trace, etc. And I think what happens as well is when no one's clearly in charge, a lot of people can yell and have all these wonderful ideas, but they never agree on anything. And we'll circle back to that next week. And then before you know it, 3 months are gone and you're over budget and everyone's getting burnt out. So that's my main takeaway from this whole last couple of years.
Yeah, it's a good point that you raised there, TJ. The community has...
King Dingaling, please.
Yes, sorry, King Dingaling. The community has fallen, I guess, to the wayside in terms of coming together and, the cohesion is not there.
Yeah, for sure. Like, here's another one. The dates, for example, like the date switch going to winter. From what I understand, the previous boards and the entities, they didn't really communicate that well amongst each other or the community or whatever, and that obviously makes things really difficult. But then now for us going forward, we've got to try and select dates. So Underland now has the primo date that Seed used to have, or that sort of general area. Did they consider burning Seed when they picked that date? I don't think they did. I've heard different stories that they went, fuck yous, we're going to take it and you can bash it up your ass. And then I've heard other people say, no, it was just the best one because it obviously is, the best one for fives, etc. So it's been really wonderful to talk to these people, all my friends and the homies and distant homies, face to face, and hear it that's off a chat thread, like it's face to face, it's in real life, because you get so much context and passion. The community was massively divided and we're slowly coming back. But the only way that we're coming back is because of these conversations, because people are getting in the same room going, oh, that's right. I remember being flogged with you on the dance floor at 3 a.m. and we had a mind meld moment, and I've stuck you away in my head as like being a homie from now on. But I haven't seen you in 10 years and the shit you've been talking online has really made me upset. So now I hate you. And this is something that we all sort of need to acknowledge and sort of move forward. I was super naive. I thought that once the restructure would happen, that everyone would come flooding back from the nether regions back to Seed and kick on. But people are like super traumatized. They're like, you know what? At first I was hurt, but now I'm angry. So fuck you, I'm doing my own thing. So we need to like acknowledge that and, sort of come together as in some kind of like thing. I lost my train of thought. I was actually looking at myself in the video and I'm rather handsome.
Well, the whole mistrusting is why I guess part of this episode I wanted to do was to gain the trust back, to talk to you guys and to lay out the vision that you guys have and the plans so we can all help you. We can all follow and come together again. Yeah.
I don't think... Yeah, I do. Thank you. I think... Look, we know that trust doesn't get earned back just because we stand somewhere and say, hey, trust me, right? And I wish that was that easy. But I knew coming off of the incredible pain and suffering that people experience with the restructure, that there was a lot of damage to really beautiful people who had given their heart and soul. And so from where I sat, I felt like, wow, that gives me a sense of compassion and a really strong hope of listening to people and of providing avenues to hear what people want and also to understand what happened in that past time, but in a way that allows for people to actually have that emotional experience witnessed, because this community does actually bring about a type of passion in you that gives you a meaning, a real purpose, and a home. We talk about that kind of flippantly, but it actually genuinely does provide that, somewhere where you can feel free to be your own creative self. And so when that falls apart, or it's for me, oh wow, they took the curtain off and it was owned by 3 people, and they were like puppeteering and that type of thing. That was shocking. And then to discover the behavior that occurred through the transition, the very long, hard-won restructure, where hearing how many beautiful people were kind of burnt in that experience, that lit a fire in me.
And the bank account as well, all of that. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, it's totally that too. Like, there's a lot of real-world structural Machiavellian aspects. And look, I don't want to spend, the whole heap of time like going, okay, look, some really terrible things happen, but let's absolutely be real about that. There was an emotional, a community level, and a financial trust, like, you name it. This was a really hard era for Burning Seed. And for us to come to this place and just begin by listening, just begin by understanding as much as we can, and to try and build the avenues and the capacity for people to have two-way conversation. That's how we hope through time that it will be known that leaders are people who put a net underneath the community and help it to, thrive.
Can I add on to that too? Like, that goes back to what we're saying about this membership thing. Is like, it's a wonderful thing to have this membership driven. So now there is like a focal point and like a conduit and a system for us and the community to get in and have their say and get it off the chat forums, get it into the org. Say, right, I'm part of this. I'm part of something. I want my voice heard. This is how we go about it. And that's, for me, that gives me like the massive like admin boner, because we're following due process. We're doing things as best we can in that proper framework. And I just think that's really, really responsible. We're all wild and crazy and all that stuff. But again, lost my train of thought looking at myself. Damn it.
So cute.
Some of the topics that was raised and discussed at the town hall was varied. I'll just go through some of this list here and just let me know what you guys think. Now, what was talked about was the neurospice community that we have. So that is a benefit I think is a great benefit for our community, that we do have these kind of people that's really engaged and really smart. The other thing was the name change from Burning Seed to another name. So that was quite heavily discussed. The bank balance, the cash flow was also talked about, was also revealed. And the New South Wales burn ? Where is this going?
Yeah, I'll just jump in there real quick. So the first question, or the first thing we talked about, what was that again? Lordy, how good's being Neurospicy? Neurospice, that's the one. Yeah, of course, man. Like, we're all rock and rollers and Neurospicy and all different and wonderful, weird shapes and sizes, and that's what makes us beautiful and unique in our community. This is our safe space, man. This is our place for us to have fun and get after it and do those things and learn about ourselves and our friends. The second one, the bank balance, obviously, yeah, that's a massive one. When you have a huge bank balance, you spend a lot. You think, oh, great, we've got this massive safety net of this awesome money, and money will solve our problems. Have a problem. We used to throw bodies at a problem. Oh, there's a problem, right, here's 10 people, fix it. Now, well, for a period there, it was like, oh, we got all this money, have money. And going through the receipts over the last few years, like, far out, I won't go into it. And then what was the last one? What was that last one, Steve?
It was the interstate inclusion.
Yeah, and the name. So obviously, as we've talked about before, Madong, it's become difficult. Madong was chosen because it was sort of halfway between Sydney and Melbourne. So now that Melbourne have moved out and are doing their own thing and really like coming of age, getting a job, getting a tax file number, etc., they don't need us anymore, like when the kids, when they leave, they just grow up so fast, Anyways, yeah, so what do we need to be in Madong? This was also, let's not make any bones about it. We've got a lot of rebuilding to do in that community. We've got to go back and talk to all the key stakeholders, all the locals. We've got a mea culpa. We've got to go there with our hat in our hands and some cold beers in the esky. We've got to do a bit of site prep, etc. And I've spoken to some friends, and they were like, oh, we'll never go back to Madong. It's obviously, you've made your decision, that's it, you're done. And like, no. We will definitely get back to Madong at some stage. But right here and now, I think we just need to not look so far in the future. We really need to look at what's happening right here and now, get our shit squared away, and then we can start making plans once we've got this all back up and running. And the name change, as everybody knows, Burning Seed was never meant to be the name forever and ever. It has been discussed in the last sort of year of changing it, and I'm all for it. If that's what the community wants, if we do the voting and put it to the community and they vote up they want it, then that's what they get. We're here to do that. I don't want it to happen this year because, fuck me, that'll just like so much admin work of changing everything from Burning Seed to whatever the new name is. And obviously the time that's going to take to do that, as we saw with the community consultation process, it takes time, but that time is very important so that you get the accurate information and then you can make those informed decisions.
Yeah, the name change is a bit more intricate and complex as people might think. But
not really. Do you remember Zoophimism? It's quite simple. What we do is we rig the voting system. So we get someone to write a script on a browser that just hammers the votes, and then bada boom, bada bing, we get the results that we want and everything's fine.
We've had some beautiful
Allegedly.
thoughts, like absolutely beautiful thoughts about what we could do with the name, right? Because like if we go right back to the origin story, that there's this beautiful name, but it is literally a seed. It is a seed. It wasn't meant to become such a flourishing community plant without it becoming named something else. But it's so significant for people because it is a home, and it's more than a home. It's where you belong, within yourself. So it's that thought of like, oh well, can we ritualistically burn that name? Can it when we choose that? Does this? It's surely art. Like it's a dance. It's a song. It's sculpture.
100%. I look forward to that so much.
Yeah.
As that idea evolved to like let it go and do that ceremonial thing, that just in my mind, my wonderful creative mind just started like exploding.
Yeah, I think that when the time comes for that, like, but first, can we have a win? Like, do we deserve a win? I feel like we deserve a win. I think we could all just absolutely agree. It doesn't matter where you are or whether you're a teenager that's moved out. Beautiful, gorgeous, long-legged thing.
We still love you.
We love you. We do love you so much. And we want you to come visit.
We come and visit to you. That's the thing, like Underland is so rad, like it's on my schedule now, so I'm glad that we don't have to compete for that date. That's awesome, because you don't want to compete with your best friends unless you're like in the surf or something, I don't know. But yeah, as far as like becoming the New South Wales burn or whatever, I just really don't want to put any of them lame like pigeonhole labels on it. It's a burn, it's burning seed, and this is its current form, whether that's in New South Wales or closer to Sydney or closer to Canberra or Victoria or whatever,
Yeah, it's not like we're going, hey, only New South Wales people can come. Like, because those hot teenagers.
Because those Victorians are wankers.
Oh, come on, they're cute.
Nah, they're wonderful. They're awesome.
Yeah, but it's not like that we're trying to exclude anyone. It's just that, look, we need to focus on who is going to turn up for us right now. Like, and we need to focus on who is going to volunteer for a situation right now. And we've got to be realistic about that, because Underland does exist. Underland exists with a, exclamation mark and 2 or 3 lines, and it's highlighted, it's glorious. And yay for them, and yay for all of that. But if we were to pretend like we were the same org that we were those years ago, it would be so scandalous for us to do that. Like it'd
be a massive disservice to it.
Yeah. We need to acknowledge what is today. It's so mindful, right? We're just being Zen here. We acknowledge what is before us right now, right here, and we respond to that. And this is not us having a strategy about that and us making a decision. This is us looking at what is right here and responsive and responsibly steering things with that in mind.
That's why I'm wearing this awesome life vest, because we're staying afloat. There's a theory called fight, move, float. At the moment, we are not fighting, we're not moving, we're floating as an org. So
I do like the idea of a legacy burn, going back to Matong, but
oh man, I'd love to go back to Matong. That place is like my home. But
there was discussion. There was some questions raised about accessibility at Matong as well, and I thought that was very valid.
Wheelchair accessibility.
Well, just the site itself as well. Yeah, so I think the current situation with Matong can be probably we can look at other sites now. We can look at other locations.
That's a great question, Steve. Listen, I haven't been back to Matong since 2018-19, so I need to get back there and talk to the homies who live there and see what's up. Not just because they're my friends and I haven't been there in ages. Bit of a fair weather friend there. I only went there when there was a party on, when Steve was on, which is shit, and I apologise. But also, like, as my role as the fart lead or, on the board, like, we need to go back and listen. We need to go back and get that key data. We need to get on site and have a look and make those decisions. It's a great site. It's flat. It's wonderful. It's nice and hot. It's got its own challenges, of course, but it's just not viable for us at the moment, it sucks. But like Teresa said, it's not because we just don't want to be there. We're just like, we literally cannot afford it. We cannot go through that logistics. We cannot do all that. And we had such a massive response from New South Wales and Sydney crew during the last, whatever months. So we have to go where the membership points us, and that's where it is.
Yeah, the other thing I want to point out with that briefing was that you guys are looking at action over perfection. So you're not looking at all these ideals, location, dates, your teams and all that. So we are taking careful considerations in terms of timing, in terms of how we do things. And just because there's lack of a burn doesn't mean there's nothing happening in the background, right?
Yeah, damn straight, man. Like, I did sort of notice that. Maybe we can talk about that tonight in our board meeting, Legends. Is we've been doing so much work in the background, and maybe we haven't been communicating that properly with our teams via the channels, etc. Maybe that's something we can. I only see that because people ask questions in the Slack thread. You're like, okay, well, there's some gaps in some information there. But yeah, we do want that action. We need it. Like, we're running low on funds. If we don't get something going, like, what are we doing here? What? Are we just going around in circles and not doing anything, and at the risk of our relationships together and our fun and our joy and our awesome sense of like doing rad shit? Like, it's all on the line here, but I think we can do it.
Well, you guys have done a lot of work, and I've noticed as well. Let's take another quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk about all the milestones, all the stuff you guys have been doing in the background, and and all the communications and consultations you've been doing with the community.
Really great stuff. Great stuff.
All right, so all the great work you guys have done since coming on board.
Thanks,
so you guys
Stevan.
were
You're welcome, buddy.
At the AGM on 31st of August, 2025.
You're really good for dates.
Yeah, it's part of history. You
That's
guys
that
have made
neuro
history.
spice coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you count
Let's talk
cards
about
as well? Let's go to the casino.
Let's talk about the rebuild and the regrow. How you guys have engaged in like an 8-week program of across the eastern seaboard. Yeah, you guys have gone to Canberra, to Melbourne, Wollongong, and spoken to other burners in the community. Let's talk about some of the key findings that you guys discovered.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I think the important thing is to sort of say, well, why did we do that? Because generating a listening experience like that enabled us to really hear the diversity of perspectives that was in our community, because we all know that we have diverse opinions. But where are the voices if we're just putting a survey online, right? We actually need to have conversations because some of these topics are nuanced. And because we wanted to make a change, then we recognize that is going to be something that requires people to hear it as much as possible, as close as possible, face to face. So, that is why we chose to make as many avenues as possible available so that people could ask questions themselves and hear it firsthand about why we needed to deal with the facts as they were standing, as we sat there, because, TJ and I, we joined the board and we're like, yeah, this is great. And then very quickly looking at what we have in our basket is like, holy hell, we can't just continue business as usual. This is going to be absolute failure. And the problems that we were facing are like, wow, we can't just do it the same way. And then the thought of, well, we have to go and ask. We've got to ask people. And so, what did we hear? Well, gosh, we heard that people love Matong. We heard that they love their communities. They want to come and do stuff. They want to play and, get involved and hurry up. Why can't you do that now? And can we do it for nothing? Of course we can, but, the real world still keeps intruding into our dreams, and grading roads costs real money. Relationships with communities still requires us to pay for actual infrastructure, and insurances don't go away even if you pretend that they don't exist. And
yeah, they almost double every year, don't they?
Yeah, it's just like super real, and required us to be really sober about that decision, and then go back to the community and say, hey, this is what we're experiencing, and we don't feel comfortable or confident taking this level of risk with the small amount of money that we've got left. So what we then heard was like, okay, we understand that. People, when they have the chance to hear it, understood that. And then they were like, okay, cool. So you like the idea of moving to another site, and because we had found another site, but then we were exploring the idea of, well, what if we go back to Matong and then go back here? And overall, once people understood why we needed to move and what the concerns were, they were actually just said, look, we do like the idea of coming back together. And the site bit was less important. The togetherness, the community, the making stuff, striving, common goals, excitement, hot people from other places. That's just me.
A huge desire for
I
a
also fit that
collaborative
bill.
cyclical burn, like a big burn, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a beautiful, fantastic, dream. And it wouldn't be something that we would be steering. It would be something that we would be co-creating with conversation and absolute care about generating really interconnected goals and hopes. And, it's not, because the last thing is we recognize that there's that, legacy layover stuff from wreck, of the train wreck.
Snap.
Yeah, I just felt that
That was
in
good.
myself.
Write that down. That's going to be meme. Can we clip that? Clip that.
Of the overlords, right? And it's like, okay, look, just because I say, well, I'm not an overlord, like I'm only going to do that if you ask kindly and, maybe more than once. But it's actually, we still have that shadow. So we have to operate with that in mind. So kind of recognize that there is that challenge and really compensate for that by making careful, considerate, collaborative approaches. Also for things like if we're going to have a big burn with lots of different orgs coming together, which we love the idea of. But for now, what we have is we've really listened to as many people as we had the capacity for within the time frame of, actually ended up being about 10 weeks actually. Heard diverse audiences. We tried to get people like neurodiverse people from regional areas, people from metropolitan areas, people who were parents, people with, access needs, so we really tried to think about it in lots of different ways and hear different perspectives. And what we heard was, hey, we understand the pain that you're sitting in as a board and we support the vision you have for moving and we understand why you're doing that and let's do it kind of thing. Where we reached at the end of that was, let's go and let's honor what we've had in Matong. Let's honor that through our continued and ongoing investment of time. Let's go and continue to honor the place and the forest, the land, and our connection to the country there. Let's go and honor the connection to the people there. It doesn't mean that we forget where we've come from, but rather we expand out and continue in a collaborative approach that has respect for everyone.
Yeah, we mentioned the key dates, or the most popular dates for a burn in Australia would be October long weekend, where it still falls within the fire restrictions. And the other one is Easter. So those are the two popular dates, and they've been taken over, with other festivals and other burns already. What other considerations are you looking at in terms of dates?
Well, we've been doing another, research project because it's like, it's not for us to go, oh yeah, cool, I like this date. It's for us to put it out to the community, and overwhelmingly at this time, it's still open right as we speak. I think that, it's going to close within a week, I think, actually. But basically, overwhelmingly, it's been Anzac Day.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the one that feels like it's our time, and it feels pretty solid winner, actually. I was surprised. But it's well in the forefront as people's preference.
It was really awesome too, TT, that because we put it out in that format, in that survey, etc., a lot of people had like strong voices. I want it this date, I want it this date, rah, rah, rah. But then once they got the survey and all things were considered and they saw the decision-making process, I think that made it a lot easier for them to come around to the dates that they chose, being Anzac, because Easter obviously got Blazing Swan, but then you have to think about the default world stuff as well. Easter, most of your sites and your campgrounds, good luck trying to book them, during Easter, which I've just realised, after speaking to the people we're speaking to at the moment. So, the calendar is nice and full. Where do we fit in on that? It's not going to make everybody happy, obviously, but again, like TT was saying, we've gone to the community and the community is overwhelmingly looking at this day because somebody in Victoria, who shall remain nameless, has now found a new home in October, which is cool.
Which is good because I like going there. I totally want to go there then because otherwise it's freezing.
Yeah.
Can't cope.
Great question, Steve.
Let's go through some of the other milestones that you guys have achieved through your 8-week period, transitioning to the new board. One of the things that I saw was the board stabilization. Now, you guys got 7 people there, and it's you guys have regular meetings, regular chats, always on communication. And the other thing was the cultural projects, some of the cultural projects and community gratitude that you guys have also done in the last few weeks and months. What can you tell us about that? Some of the stuff that you guys have achieved.
Yeah, well, look, we're getting involved in what we can, right? Like, so I think that, look, we've got Mardi Gras inaugural float. I'm so excited about that. I am honestly, the first time I went to see it is 2017. I looked
Can
around,
we
I
just
was like,
stop for a sec? Like, that is a massive, massive thing to have a float in the Sydney Mardi Gras. Like, that's no small fucking feat. Excuse my French. Congrats to the team. That's super proud. It's a very proud moment. Even though I have nothing to do with it.
It's so cool. And I think it's like that thing of when you what I was saying is like, you look around and you think, who could be in this room? And when I say room, I mean paddock, right? It's like, who else would find this place home? And I think increasingly that the even just increasing visibility of the existing queer people within our own community and making it an explicitly welcoming queer space. And it's always been queer. It's just that now this is making it explicitly so. That, of course, it's a safe place for queer people. And so this really represents such an amazing achievement because we just are supporting people in our community. But anyway, I'm so excited about that. What other cool stuff have we been doing? It feels like we've been listening a lot. We've just been listening and trying to understand what people think and feel. What else have we been doing, TJ?
Yeah, we've been working in the background cleaning up that email thing. I think we're down to like 60 something now email accounts. And for those listening, what the email accounts is part of our organizational structure. Maybe I should just like open the door. What's that, behind the green curtain or whatever? Anyway, as an organization, obviously we need to keep that institutional knowledge, those transactional, not transactional, but the records of interactions with people. So we have email accounts. Mine's Hotwire at Burning Seed, for example. And then all our team leads and team members will have those. That's been a huge undertaking to clean those up. Some people have had those email accounts for 10 plus years. I understand that in Black Rock City, if you've worked for them for an extended time, you still get to keep your at Burning Man handle email. And we'd love to do that in the future, but we just can't at the moment. So that's a massive milestone that we're getting very close on fixing, and that will significantly reduce our bill and put that structure back in. Yeah, so it's very clear who's doing what.
We're on team meetings every week, right? It's like every single week.
For 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I'm always so amped. I cannot even go to sleep until like 2 a.m. every Tuesday. It might seem like, oh, what are the cultural things we're in? But to be honest, it's like structural and it's philosophical and it's deeply interested in how we can do things in a sustainable way, or how we can do things in a way that increase accessibility, or how we can do things in a way that are going to meet the needs of the most people in our community. So there's so many of this type of conversation that we are having even before we get to the point where we make things happen. But we are making things happen every week, even if it's like, okay, we've completed the listening campaign, and now we're going to get on to making a comms campaign and I dream of having a well-being program for us all. And we talk about other things that we could do, a bit like lots of small events and
like corporate team building events
ways
in
of people coming
like
together.
with Sundays or whatever. Again, tax write-off.
Yeah, or Hong Kong junks.
Another big one is obviously Marcelo and everyone is starting to really get the role descriptions for team leads and starting to really shape those teams. The org structure is evolving constantly based on what we need now. It may, 3 months ago, it was looking quite big and convoluted, where it's now getting really sharp, and we're really starting to identify as we get a little bit more operational what key roles we're going to need and what kind of people we need in those roles. And then people are starting to come out of the woodwork again, which is awesome. A lot of people have been watching on the wings and waiting and seeing, and now they're starting to get engaged, which is amazing. Marcelo could probably speak more of that.
No, yeah, it would be good to put the org chart eventually out so everyone can see, which it's in 6 or 7 different sections. And it's the good part is that each person on the board has a kind of a lead of the sections. So kind of the communication is going to flow better because everyone's going to be knowing where everyone is at. And so it's pretty good. And now we're getting team leads in place, like TJ said, Hotwire, Dingaling. So yeah, we're getting there. It's with the aim for next year slowly, but everyone can come and join us because the more the better. Merrier.
Can I ask you, Marcelo? You were there at the 2023 or 2022 Burning Seed event.
Yep. Yeah, I was part of town council and comms.
Yeah, so what I want to talk about is how you guys have also, one of your milestones is looked at governance and looked at the democratic reform of the structure of the org. Now, with the experience of the 23 burn, which you guys didn't actually burn anything, and all the other, I guess, the governance around that as well, that kind of restricted certain things, how has it changed now? And what are you guys looking to do with some of the roles that you talked about? And also the volunteering part of it, it's a big key aspect of it too.
Yeah, that's a lot of volunteers who came in 2023, 2022, 23 that are going to be continuing to the restructure and everything. Yeah, I mean, there was a big backslash in 2023 with the old org not wanting the event to happen, but it happened anyway because there was another energy going. As of now, it's completely different. I can see the old volunteers, the older community from 2019 and previous years really stepping up as well. So I can see that. Yeah, I can see that's just a matter of time for everyone to come back together, and we're working towards that for next year.
Yeah, the other thing was that it's written on the website. People can go and see all these debriefs and results. The other thing that was featured on the website or the debrief was the strong support for a different site and looking around and prospecting for what's available within the New South Wales region. And weighing the difference between what Matong has to offer and some of these other new sites has to offer as well.
Oh man, if Matong was like affordable and easy for us, it's a no-brainer. It's flat. It's a little bit of room to work on. Maybe not so great when it gets a bit wet, but yeah, any kind of place like that. I remember years ago when we first started talking about moving sites, I was like, let's go somewhere where it's just flat and open and there's no trees or bush or anything. It's just a blank canvas. Yeah, I mean, there's so many factors to go into it. Like Matong is awesome. If we had the cash and the peeps, it'd be so rad to get back there. But also the new site that we're looking at is fucking incredible. Like, it's really nice. Yeah.
Oh, it's glorious. Yeah. It is absolutely dreamy. It is the type of thing that you would see a photo of and you'd think, it doesn't matter where in the world you were, you would think, oh wow, yeah, I want to go there.
Spectacular.
It's iconic.
Well, we just want a site that doesn't flood, right? That doesn't trap us when it's, in a weather kind of situation. So.
Yeah. And obviously it's reasonably flat so we can have, art and structures that we can build and whatnot.
Mutant vehicles, yeah, that's a big part.
Yeah.
So the state forest of Matong, it's been used for many of years. Is the future of Burns going to be more about moving into a property that is away from the state, away from the government?
Man, that's a great question. It's probably a Gabe question because Gabe's been doing all this like hardcore DA paperwork, etc. But you're damn right, and like that just seems to be the way that like the governments and the powers that be can make us and festivals go away. It's just admin and fees you into fucking oblivion. Excuse my French. And then now what they're slowly learning is that those local communities and the states as a whole lose a lot of money and lose a lot of like tourism and wonderful community building. It's really, really strange landscape at the moment. I think I hope that we can come out of it. And like TT said, it's really up to us because we're burners. Like we're different. We're not a commercial event. We're not there to make money and like have superstar DJs come and all that kind of jazz. You know what I mean? Like we're there to make a community. We're there to create and be together and explore and have fun and like almost die a couple of times outside of that whole corporate weirdness, but we still got to live in it a little bit. So as far as finding venues, like, yeah, if there's property owners out there who are struggling, if your sheep aren't sheeping or your cows aren't cowing, there's a pretty decent market for us wild children to come out there and have a good old time if you'll have us.
Yeah, so we can't talk about the new site at all, so I can't even mention it. I was just going to go there.
Yeah, look, just to give everyone some context on that, as TT is saying, we're still in the planning stages. We're still talking. It'd be so wrong for us to be so happy and let out what our awesome dreams and our plans and our futures are, because we're just not at that stage with the local landholders. And we want to be very careful about what we present to our community and our membership before.
Look, we can say, there's stuff we can say. Like, I think we can say...
Let's talk about what needs to happen, what needs to be done by the SBA team, as well as the burning seed or the burning community in the East Coast in Australia.
Well, you got to do your DAs, you got to plan your budgets, you got to talk to local stakeholders, the community members that you're going to be barging into. You need to have massive amounts of communication to let them know, like, these people have seen Burning Man online, but maybe they've only seen DJ sets where there's beautiful models dancing on a stripper pole. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much involved in it. And we can't rush these things as much as we know we can do the things, but when you're going into someone else's property, whether that's state forest or someone's backyard and their farmland, like, you got to be very careful. You got to be careful not to overpromise and underdeliver, all that kind of jazz. And as things evolve, you got to be careful not to like, oh, that's a great idea, let's do that. Who's running with it? We've got to be careful with what we say online. Like, there's so many things that we need to navigate as a board and a community. It's insane, but we can do it.
Yeah, and I think that you're absolutely right in saying that it is a stakeholder engagement process. Not only our internal audiences, our different communities, understanding and representing that fairly. So saying who we are and the diversity of the people that we represent, and looking for a space where we can indeed call home, where we can make art and music and fun and have workshops and and all the exciting things that we do, craft. And then it's also in talking to landowners, it's having a shared cultural appreciation. It's that we are not a commercial festival. We're not even a festival. How do you explain the enigmatic nature of a community? It's actually something that you can only better understand through experience.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to explain it to them as well. Like, when they ask it, they don't quite get it. It's really weird for us or for me, because you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this person literally doesn't get what we're doing. And you're like, have you ever seen pictures of the Grand Canyon? Yeah. Have you ever been there? No. Okay, well, it's two different things. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of, and then what we do come up against, I suppose, is that there's only specific stereotypes that are the most exciting to engage with. And we know what they are, except that doesn't represent the whole. And so when we are speaking with people who might present us a venue, it's also understanding what their dreams are. It's understanding how can we, as a community, build support for their vision, and in what ways does it benefit them? Because we are a gifting community. We're a community that is built on strong relationships. We're a community of dreamers who make things happen. Like, it's actually, you want to be our friend. Like, being a person who has land that has burners come means that incredible art happens and amazing things occur on your land. But it's generating a true relationship. And so that doesn't happen quickly. It doesn't matter if that's a friendship or if it's a more high stakes relationship where it involves our home. So we are, of course, doing that with a deliberateness, with conscientiousness and care, and with authenticity.
Totally. Like our burner ethos, our principles that we've all been living for so long just seem like second nature to us, but really getting across the civic responsibility to leave no trace, these things that are now starting to really be commonplace in a lot of mainstream festivals. We've been doing that for ages, and really trying to explain that in a sort of really clear and concise manner that these landholders and stakeholders can understand. Because again, they may only just see what's online, and their Google results will vary. So it's so important for us to get and chat with these people and show and prove and do.
Well, it's usually a case that if these people are not burners yet, they surely will become a burner at the end of it. So we've had cases like that at Blazing Swan, at Underland, and various other burns.
Yeah.
Let's get into the last. Let's take another break. We'll get into the last section, which is the future plans of Sunburnt Arts, and what do you guys have in store for us in 2027.
My name is Lani Castle. I have met the professor. I am a convert tonight of meeting strangers and making new relationships. And I think in the real world, we're so scared of people, and there's a lot of aura around fear and hating what we don't know. And in a place like this, all of that falls away. And I'm happy to meet new people and open myself up to new experiences, and this is the place to do that. So I've been thinking about new relationships recently. It's been on my mind quite a bit. And tonight at this event, I met a woman called Ale. She said, I realize that when I come to these events, I've just been talking to my friends. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm going to come up and introduce myself. My name is Ale. What do you do? What do you love? We had a wonderful conversation. She came and found me a little bit later in the night and said, okay, now it's your turn. Go talk to that guy. Which is always a moment of anxiety. But I went and I talked, and I have made some new friends. I've learned some new things. I now have been invited to make a lampshade hat, to a science YouTube channel, and to a kink event, which are honestly all things I'm interested in. And if it wasn't for Ale and remembering that I can talk to people and go wherever I want and start something new out of nothing, that wouldn't have happened tonight. So big thanks to this community, and change is good. Octopus Cruise signing out. Love you, Professor Stevan. Love your work.
I'll turn your mic off now. I'm sorry.
So I took the belt off my
welcome
neck,
back.
and then, I ran. And that's the last time I'm fucking going in Toys R Us.
Welcome back. Let's talk about the roadmap for SBA. What can you tell us? So 2027, what are we looking forward to?
Well, I am looking forward to increasing transparency on all levels. It starts with my clothing, obviously, and building from there, it is going to be, hey, want to have a look at my finances? Hey, how do you feel about my volunteer capacity? Ooh, would you like to know a little bit more about the site relationships? Of course, because you're a member, and then you actually get those member comms. And then, of course, you have an opinion, and you are part of those face-to-face consultations that we do all the time, anytime there's something really important. Building on lots of small successes to build bigger and more integrated, successful events based on genuine collaboration rather than top-down approaches. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I think we all should give TT a round of applause for that awesome, totally not scripted, canned response.
Yeah, but seriously though, we have learned from our crises, right? We've learned from the past, and that is genuinely what we want. I kind of like who out there can help us make a dashboard, for our website where you can genuinely see things like what's happening, in fiscally responsible ways, available to our members. What's happening with our finances? Like, why is this information completely only available to the select few? I want transparency. I want it to be embedded into everything that we do. I want that concept of consultation to be at anything that's of significance to the membership. I want it to feel like that it's community decision making, and it's not a surprise when something comes out. It's just like confirmation of what you already heard through being part of conversations that were happening. And so it's not like you're waiting for some message to appear on Facebook or on Slack, or it's that you were there because we were asking questions. It's our job to facilitate questions that actually, bring about enthusiastic responses. And, it's not about what we decided, but it's about what we heard and what we're responding to. That's more and more of that. Of course, there's a few parties and some burning things and, art. And, there's all of those things that we love, but, in building or rebuilding, that it's, sort of service oriented. Makes sense, right? And that, I guess, is like that's not just for our community, but it's for whatever home that we have. It's like, so we go out to the community, right? Well, it's not a surprise what happens because we really do build genuine relationship. It's building, ways of getting people locally involved that makes sense for each of those crews. Like, like getting local fire teams involved in the fire arts team, for example. Us doing planting and learning as much as we can about the local ecology from local mob. And it's about understanding what species exist in different places and how it's us having a holistic approach in everything that we do. It's not performative.
I think it's been proven, especially last year in 2025, that our community is resilient, and building upon the IBAG survey and some other data points and some other consultations and stuff like that, we do have a community that is ready, that is, waiting in the wings, waiting some things to happen. So we are rebuilding that kind of trust, that kind of cohesion, the harmony back again, because we all want to see that everything is all inclusive, right? We don't want to feel like, okay, this is a New South Wales burn or whatever. Yeah, we're moving forward and rebuilding the key infrastructure and organization. So a lot of work that you guys have done. I fully appreciate it, love it, respect everything you guys do. So I'm really looking forward to the future of Seed or the future of Sunburnt Arts. But yeah, whether it's a name change or it's whatever it is, it's needed, because what last year proved, especially with the cancellation of Seed, was that we had a renegade, which was also significant in that our community is not falling apart. Yeah.
No, it's galvanizing, right? It's like Embers, for example, like coming together, people just showing, oh my gosh, there's so much passion, there's so much enthusiasm, there's so much competency, and there is such an incredible amount of diverse skills. And I guess, but it's also that there really has to be an emphasis on healing too. Like, yeah, shit went down. And let's not pretend it didn't go down. Let's engage with that. Let's sit in our difficult feelings and co-regulate like herd animals and restore friendships, relationships, capacity, build that new direction in a sustainable way. And one of the things I really love thinking about is like pleasure. And can we do volunteerism with pleasure? Can we do our events with pleasure? Can we get better and better at how we communicate with one another so that it's more and more pleasurable for us to do this? Like, of course, you ask a sexologist and they say, that we should think about pleasure, but that's why we're there, right? So we are literally doing this stuff because it's really pleasurable. Let's put that at the center at the heart of what we're doing, so that the volunteerism, everyone is like, this is such a good vibe. Oh my God, this team feels fantastic. I love being here. And that we all feel equipped for what happens when your tent falls over and then someone else comes, helps you out, and there's the joy of knowing that you're held in a community. It's like celebrating those types of things and increasing the ways that we support one another, care for one another, show up for one another, because the world is a different place than that. And that is what we have. We have this beautiful, outrageously dependable community of incredible capacity. And if we strengthen that through our absolutely tested relationships, because we love going out into outrageous places and doing difficult things, then that actually has a knock-on effect for every aspect of our lives. So yeah, I guess it always comes back to that for me, of like, how can we make those connections more powerful, more palpable, more meaningful? And yeah, some of that is amazing events. Some of it is striving towards art, and some of it is acknowledging that there was some really hard times that we get an opportunity to heal through. And how will we do that? Let's engage with that. Some of it is thinking about colonialism and patriarchy and capitalism and all of the constructs that we live within. It's all of that.
Marcelo, how do you see what are you guys plans ahead?
Wow! After Tereasa, she spoke from the heart, and it was so nice to hear. And I agree with everything. And she's the one who brought the community consultation and having our comms strategy for the future. So it's very good. And where I'm with the crew aspect, and we did just a one run for crew, and we got 30, 40 people already keen to come and help create the structure we need with leadership and for next year. So now I can see that the energy it's very strong. It's there. Every time we give comms out, you see it. There's a lot of people with passion that hear us and want to talk to us, and it's great. Now that we are a community that it's run by its members, so yeah, I see that next year is going to be a good foundation for great burns to come.
And you guys don't see that you guys are ready for something this year?
I think if we see what happened last year with the restructure coming out, and in a few months, let's do this event without the community consultation that we needed, and so that's why I believe if we wait to next year, probably around Anzac Day, who knows, we're going to have enough time to have the right structure, the right volunteers in place, and be successful.
Yeah, look, we're definitely going to do fun things. Like, fun things is the heart and life of what we do, but it's building in a way that builds our capacity. It's building in a way that we can rely on. It's ensuring that we have a success. And that means smaller things, build the capacity, training. You know, we're in an interesting place where we are both a really mature, thriving community, and we're kind of like a startup in some ways. And we have that agility, but we have to acknowledge that's where we are. And we have this sort of vision of who we were, and yet we've moved into a new domain. And yeah, we just want to do that in a way that is really heart focused. And the people are at the center of that, and they are successful because we enabled their success. And it's a bit slower, but it's really purposeful.
Yeah, I think if we're to bank on the name of Burning Seed, we've seen it could be detrimental, because we've seen the results of it is that the ticket sales wasn't there, and people have other priorities now. People have other ideals now in terms of the burn community. So just using or just living off that Burning Seed name is no longer beneficial. So we have to move forward and look at other ways of building the community, not just around that one event. So yeah, you guys are doing some amazing work there, rebuilding, refocusing, and bringing the East Coast burn community back. What have you guys, in terms of your own self, what's on your burn calendar this year? Anything exciting looking forward to?
I guess I'm feeling like the most exciting thing I do is turn up to the board meeting every Tuesday evening. I love going to events, but I'm also, solo mom. I'm going to the Spice fundraiser in a couple of weeks, and I'm like so amped for that. I cannot wait for that. And gosh, when I see, I get JOMO, it's like there's so many beautiful, incredible events, and I'm just so glad that the people exist and they're going to them. Blazing Swan was my first event, and I love it so much and cannot wait to go back. Underland, I just love, and I kind of just have to leave it to the last minute to see what I'm capable of doing. But I don't really plan out a calendar. Yeah, I just plan out, the weekly, doing the thing, turning up, being part of this. These are the ways that I can get that excitement
No, yes, I'm a bit the same now with a young girl, a young baby. So it's creating the next event. That's my main focus. Of course, if I have time, I'll go to a boss, a burner of Sydney and surroundings. I think get a hot dog. That was the last event. So yeah, that's what I'm mainly looking for. But really working towards our next burn.
Yeah, sorry, we're not the party animals. We're big, TJ and the rest of the people for party people. They totally, we are those people. But we just one of the things I'm really excited about is like getting like nerdy scientists together to debate stuff like hot topics and maybe like dreaming of like, oh, what if we have like more cabarets, or what if we do local things where we're sharing different skills, or I dream about so many different things, skilling people up in different ways. So but really in the end it's like, oh, how do people come together? What are the ways that we can provide more opportunities for people to build stronger, more resilient friendships? That's the sort of stuff that I sit around thinking about. And costumes and hairdressers, of course. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about how we can become members of Sunburnt Arts then, and how do we get involved and put our hand up for volunteering and all that. So, what are some of the contact informations?
Yes, please go to our website, sunburntarts.org. And yes, there's a membership tab there, and it has all the information. And it's $10 a year, yearly subscription that goes. We are a non-for-profit, so it goes straight to the org. And yeah, we have monthly poems. We have a Slack channel for all members as well, and there's where we inform everyone about what we need, what's happening.
Yeah, sunburntarts.org.au/membership is where you will find it. And we just would love everyone to get involved. And we put out monthly membership emails where we kind of like do really deep dives into operational stuff, and we try to like be as transparent as possible. We're pretty keen on making Flaming Galar into more like a broadsheet or like a magazine. We'd love to hear from people who have fantastic burning stories. We want to publish things that are fun and exciting. We are looking for someone who could be like an agony aunt, like a burner, who give great advice or not so great advice, funny advice. And we're open to other ideas on that. It's like, oh, can we make things that are really representative of our community? So we're thinking about that. And yeah, we're just really interested also in what others are thinking about and what you guys and girls and they thems are thinking and would like to experience, and what we can bring to the front that would enrich your life.
Yes, thanks very much everyone for coming on and sharing us and giving us some updates. I was actually looking forward to some more concrete dates and or information, but those information will be revealed as it comes along. It's only been a few weeks since the consultation and the results and all the results from it. But yeah, we'll definitely get you guys back on, especially the other board members, to talk about more developing news and updates in terms of the dates and the site and the theme camps and who people is going to get involved, all that stuff, all those good stuff. What about some of the dreams that you guys were talking about earlier? What are some of the things that you think can happen within the community, burner community here in Australia?
Oh wow, I want a burning retirement village. Can we have that? Like, I don't want to go to an old.
So we grow old together.
Yeah, like I totally want that. I want to be somewhere where it's like they have over 55 villages. Can you believe it? It's like, wow. Can we have our own version of that with the big hole in the middle and the fun adventure times, and then we have nurses, and I don't know what people do, but gosh, when I get that old, I would love to have that in a way that is filled with all of my community. So that's a dream. Yeah.
Perhaps own land or burner land.
Yeah, that is definitely a big dream. Having our own property, having our own site that we can share with other community, segments of the community. Yeah, that's something that we could have achieved, I guess, if there was no pandemic or a faster transition power to the community.
Yes.
That could have
Definitely.
been something that we could have realized, I think.
Yeah,
But no,
but we could
like
build
you
towards
said,
that again. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's that putting things out, like dreams like this, out there and starting discussion about one, what does the community mean to you, and two, what is it that we want?
Well, we want momentum as well. I think we had a great first few years of Burning Seed, and then there was the floods, and then there was a pandemic and restructuring. So we just need to build that momentum again, I think, and I think we can. We have such a strong, vibrant, intellectual and doers. A lot of doers. That's what you need for the community.
Oh, I totally see us rebuilding. I mean, I wouldn't be putting this much effort in if I didn't think that this was completely within our capacity. This 100%, like within even my tenure of 3 years, I anticipate to leave this community in a much stronger place where we are today.
Yeah, and as burners, we do practice immediacy, but we also need to practice patience, I think. The key thing, I took away from the town hall meeting was that patience is not inaction. It just takes time. I think with our community culture and the way we gather and present things, I think it's achievable. As I've said before, I think is that the way I see it, it is a glass half full. So very optimistic, very keen for the future. Thanks very much for coming on and discussing all these final points. And when we get some more developments and more updates, definitely invite you guys to come back on and share with us all these really exciting news.
Yeah, we look forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stevan.
It's not going to be that long. I think, we just squirreling away. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And in terms of announcements and, exciting news, I think that's not so far away too. We just actually care so much.
As soon as when you notify me,
yeah.
Let's spread it out there. Let's get it out to the community.
Totally. We just care so much about our community that we want to be clear with what we say and that we can definitely deliver,
And honest and transparent. It's what the community deserves.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, thanks for reflecting back and talking about all these key points. I know there's more to talk about, and I'll definitely we'll ask the other board members to have their thoughts and their views. But thanks very much. It was very interesting.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, this is going straight to the pool room. Thanks very much. Have a good one.
You too, Sil.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. And PY.
Thank you.
Bonzaar.